Hi, everybody. This is Mildred Lynn McDonald, and I'm here in Judique in my kitchen with a nice cup of tea, wearing my Judique Spirit Tartan, which is relatively new. And I'd like to introduce you to Donna MacLellan, who's in her kitchen in Judique, wearing her Judique Spirit Tartan, which is beautiful on Donna. And our special conversation guest today is Pat Todd, all the way from across the pond over in Edinburgh with the Scottish Register of Tartans. Thank you so much for joining us today, Pat.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Yeah, I've been to your website, and
yes,
according to what's written there, your organization handles the registrations of tartans from all over the world.
That's absolutely correct.
And
yes.
Also, you make sure that the tartans that are registered meet guidelines so that it's fair and square for everybody and people know that their tartan is registered and they can use it however they want.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Donna and I put some questions together if you're up for some questions. And we're
well, I shall do my best.
Yes. And we're sure that everybody in Judique and Inverness County and beyond will be really interested in what you have to say. So the first question is, how many tartans are registered?
We actually have over 8,600 tartans on the register.
Oh, wow.
Now, more than 3,000 of these have been registered since the inception of the tartan register. So a lot of these tartans were what we call legacy tartans.
Okay.
And they were recorded by the Scottish Tartans World Register, the Scottish Tartan Society, and the Scottish Tartans Authority. So we've inherited some of these tartans, and we're still going through them just to check that everything's okay, because there are duplicates. But we have over 8,600 tartans on the register. Yes,
I'm totally amazed. I'm sure Donna is too. That's a lot of tartans.
It's a lot of tartan, yes.
Yeah. And when I was kind of reading up on the register and looking at articles and YouTube videos and things like that, people seem to think there's only 4,000 to 5,000, but you're saying there's over 8,000.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes, there are over 8,000 altogether. Okay. Yes.
Okay,
yes.
That's pretty impressive. So you have your tartans. Some of them are new tartans, some of them are legacy tartans. And I know during COVID, people are feeling a sense of belonging, looking for their roots. Sometimes they want to create a tartan for their family or their group or their village or their town. Have you noticed an upswing in applications for tartans?
I would say no. Applications have been coming in steadily, as they always do. So I would say no upswing. Just a steady influx of applications. Yes.
Yeah, that's another surprise. Pat, what do you think? Donna, would you?
Surprising, yes.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that he would want to. So many tartans.
Yeah. So the other question we wanted to ask you, Pat, is there's categories. And I know when we're a little group of 8 people in the village of Judique, which is by the seaside. It's beautiful. And we wanted to create a tartan for the village. The village has been here about, I don't know, 250 years. Donna can correct me if I'm incorrect.
Yes.
And what we did is we sent a note out to all of the community members and said, hey, if we were going to develop a tartan, what colors would you like and what are their meaning? And we were absolutely overwhelmed with the reply from the community and the interest in the tartan. So then we went along the path and we went to your website and we noticed that there's categories. So of course, yet again, we had a good cup of tea and had to decide that which category are we going to put the tartan in. So there's quite a few, and I was wondering if you might be able to share what the categories are and maybe what's the most popular category.
Yes, I can do that. There are 9 categories in total.
Okay.
And I mean, would you like me to explain what they
Sure,
are?
Because I know someone who's listening is probably thinking about categories. So if you'd be so kind, that would be great.
Well, if you don't mind, I'll read it from my crib
certainly.
sheet.
Yes. Yeah.
So the first one is the name, category, and that's for an individual or a family. Now that is the most popular category of all of them. And then we have the corporate category, which is for a company or an organisation. And then we have fashion. Again, for fashion and retail, usually without any personal association whatsoever.
Okay.
Now, the clan family one, now this is a tricky one because a lot of people, when they put in an application for their name, they say they want it to be a clan or a family, but the clan family category is for tartan to be worn by members of a Scottish clan or family that's recognised by the Court of the Lord Lion. The Lord Lion registers and records new tartans himself upon request from the clan chief. So that's a tricky one. That's a tricky one. Then we have district for tartans associated with a particular geographical area, including towns, parishes, counties, villages, etc. And then we have military for tartans associated with any branch of the armed forces, including volunteer regiments. Commemorative. This is for tartans created to commemorate a specific public event or person. And then we have royal, for tartans with a direct connection to the British or foreign royalty. And then the very, very last category is other, for tartans which do not meet the criteria for any of the other categories. But all this information is available on the website. So it's obviously, if somebody doesn't know what category to choose, please ask us and we're more than happy to help.
Yeah, well, I know that was something we gave a lot of thought to. And as you go into the different categories, a few of them pop up as relevant. So it narrows down very quickly. And we did find that the website was wonderful, being able to go in there, looking at the categories. And then finally, I think we had a cup of tea and a piece of fudge. we did decide on our category, and we sent in our application. So when we were looking at the Judique Tartan, you were kind enough to say, you don't have to register a tartan. It's
That's
not
correct.
necessary. But if you do, these are the benefits. So wondering if you might share with Donna and I what the benefits are.
Well, again, this again, registering a tartan provides evidence of the existence and the date of a design, and it allows other people to see your design. It means it's been recorded for historical purposes. I mean, who knows, in 100 years' time, somebody might be looking at the register and they say, oh, that's my ancestor's tartan.
Yes.
There are no intellectual property rights associated with having your tartan on the register, but it proves its existence.
Okay.
It's, you don't, as you said, you don't have to register a tartan, but people seem to like to do it.
Yes.
So
it's a little bit of pomp and circumstance. It's kind of
yes.
Credibility. Yes. It exists, right? Like a
credibility. That's yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So that was we were so relieved when you emailed us and said you don't have to register. So and I'm sure Donna will agree, this took the pressure off us.
Yes.
And then we made the conscious decision that yes, we would like to continue on with the registration, and it went beautifully thanks to you and your colleague at your office. So here's another question that people ask us. What's the difference between a tartan and a plaid? Where's the...
Right. Okay, so plaid, spelt P-L-A-I-D, is used mostly in the USA to refer to tartan.
Oh.
But in the UK, plaid, P-L-A-I-D, it refers to a specific long piece of tartan worn over the shoulder as part of Highland dress. Now, I don't know if you ladies were interested in watching the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral, but the piper had the plaid and he had it over his shoulder.
Okay.
Remember that. So it's yes, I would say it's very American to say plaid.
Okay.
But but we would never say plaid. We would say tartan.
Tartan.
And yes. Does that help at all? I'm not sure if it does.
Well, one thing that I read is that a tartan is symmetrical. and a plaid doesn't have to be symmetrical. Now that could be inaccurate information.
Perhaps not, but we would never refer to anything as plaid. It would be tartan, or it would be perhaps checked, something like that. So I think it's a very American thing to do.
Okay, so when we're referring to our Judique Spirit Tartan, we will always refer to it as a tartan, because that's the proper way to
yes, it's tartan.
Yeah,
it's a tartan.
Yeah. Oh,
yes.
and just as we're here, I just wanted to share, because I know that you'd be interested in this. So in Judique, we have two tartans, two registered tartans. We have the Judique Spirit Tartan spring, summer, and Donna's wearing that.
Yes.
Okay. And then we have the Judique Spirit Tartan fall, winter, and I'm wearing that. And you may ask yourself, why do we have two? Why don't we have four for every season? But when our group of 8 met, the most popular one was the lighter version. But there were enough people who loved the darker version. So what we decided is to register both. And it was a wonderful decision, because now we have 2 beautiful tartans to wear and enjoy and pass on as a legacy to our relatives. And actually, we look at it as a way to weave the village together. And we look at it as an inspiration for other little villages or towns or cities to connect people who live there geographically, connect people who've had to move away, connect people who are passing through, maybe tourists, connect people who are coming back, like me, and connect that all under an umbrella of community vitality, community spirit, community connections, community building. So for us, with the Judique Tartan, which you so kindly registered for us, it's multi-layered and a wonderful opportunity to be inclusive and pull people in, from wherever. So that's
absolutely.
And I remember you were saying, and I remember you had sent me an email and you said, we're here and we register the tartans and we're curious or interested to find out, what do people do with the tartans afterwards?
Yes. So when mostly people register personal tartans for weddings. They want to wear a kilt. They want an outfit for their wedding.
Yeah.
And there are also corporate ones, like for example, the Scottish Rugby Union have their own tartan and they wear it on their shirts.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't really know what people are doing, but it's branding, I would say, for lots of the corporate people.
Okay.
Yes, I mean there's tartan on parts of aeroplanes as well. So it's very much branding, and people just want their own tartan. They want a scarf. They want it's sort of heritage. This is mine.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
No, it totally does. And as you're speaking, I'm thinking that's what a global appeal this piece of fabric has. It's simply amazing. Like, I know polka dots have global, that's a type of fabric design that's popular, but a tartan, you can bring it, you can work with it and become one with it and create such beautiful community or heritage programs with it. Or you can go down a completely different road and use it to represent your company or corporation or team or whatever. So it's very flexible, isn't it? It's very...
oh, yes. Yes, indeed. Yes.
So the next question I wanted to ask, and as I said, Donna helped put our questions together. What are the most popular colors? Now, maybe in the past or the present. What are people?
Okay, so traditionally, red, green, yellow, blue, white, black, and these traditional colours are still popular, but we're seeing a lot of greys and purples and pinks and bright blues. Anything goes, really.
It just hit my mind. Did you ever receive neon? Like that neon yellow or neon green?
Yes.
Okay. All
We've,
right.
yes, we've had some yes, very luminous colours, but as you probably know, we've got a limited number of colours that we can use to portray the tartans on our website.
Yeah.
So we might not, the colours might not be exactly what they want in their design, but we match them as best as we can. But yes, we have had some very brightly coloured tartans.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then back to what you
Yes.
were sharing about the colors. You had shared the colors, and then in the past.
Yeah. Yes. The colours, the traditional colours are still very popular.
Okay.
But there are quite a few blacks and greys. They're very popular, and that's quite difficult because there are so many on the register. It's quite, making sure that they're all unique can be quite difficult because it's a black, white, grey. There's only so many combinations you can have.
Yeah,
But,
that's when and I know Donna will agree with me, when we were creating our tartan, and you start to understand the process, and you start to understand there's a whole bunch of tartans and each one has to be unique, you really gained empathy and compassion for you and your colleagues receiving these tartans and having to differentiate what meets the guidelines and what's unique enough to be registered.
Yeah.
So when a person's sending in a tartan design, there's a set and there's also colors. Can you just give us a little overview of what that looks like?
The set or the thread count is what we describe as the DNA of tartan.
Okay.
It helps the weaver weave the tartan. So you can have an asymmetrical tartan or a symmetrical tartan.
Okay.
The colours are not, I'm going to say they're not quite as important, but that's not what I mean. We have a limited palette of colours that we use. Okay. So we have to have what we call hexadecimal codes to generate the image on the website.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not worried so much about the colours, it's more the thread count.
Okay, so that's good to know. The thread count is, and I think you had shared with me that now I could be wrong, Pat, if you have a tartan design and you step far enough away from it and it looks unique, that's also a barometer.
That absolutely is, because if we feel that there are two quite similar, that's it. It's about stepping away and just looking and saying, well, can you see? I mean, there might be a very, very fine line of pale blue in a new tartan, but you can't see it. Yes. It's not it's not been differentiated from the original tartan. Yeah. So yes, that's part of it. That's part of it as well.
Yeah, it's as I said, and I'm sure Donna may have some commentary on this, but you really do gain an appreciation. Like it's what do you think, Donna?
Absolutely, yes, yeah.
Yeah,
it's very interesting how all the colors come or all the plaids come together, and there's so many different ones. I'm just amazed that it's over 8,000 actual tartans.
Yes, and actually we know there are tartans out there that are not on our register, because it's not compulsory to register a tartan.
Yeah.
It's.
So Pat, how long does the process take? Like let's say someone registers, they send their tartan in for your consideration. If someone's out there who wants to register, what would you suggest? What would be your guidance?
Oh, the guidance, right. Well, I have to say, there's a whole lot of guidance on the website, and we would always say, please read the guidance. And on each step of the application, there is a drop down that takes you to that particular part of the guidance to help. Yeah. But I understand, it's quite a complicated thing to look at, but it's read the guidance, read the guidance, read the guidance. I'll never stop saying that. And if people want to, they can pick one of the many online tartan designers that are there for people to help design a tartan. There are very many. We can't recommend it a particular one, but there are very. If you just search for online tartan designers, that can help, and then people can see it building up you know, and then they can tweak it and
Yes.
that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's really good guidance. Yeah.
And the other, I think the most important thing we would say is, don't get your tartan woven until it's been registered, if you want to register it, because there has been many occasions, well, some occasions when people have had their tartan woven and we've had to say, sorry, we can't register it because there's another tartan on the register that's identical or very similar to.
Yes.
That's quite an important thing.
Yeah, that's really good guidance. We can relate to that.
Yeah. Yeah, oh, of course, yes.
To that. So here's another question. This is a personal question, if you'd be so kind. What do you find most rewarding about doing this type of work?
I think I would say it's fascinating to be able to work with one of the best known aspects of our nation's heritage. Really, that would be it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
And in our small team, you know, there's always more to learn. I enjoy working with my colleague very much.
Yes.
We rub along quite nicely.
Yeah.
But it's that would be all I would say about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you go home at the end of the day, after spending a lot of intimate time with various tartans and your team, you feel good. You feel like I'm doing meaningful work.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely, and also helping people, because particularly when they're, you know, if they're struggling with an application or they need any help,
yeah,
you know, we said, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us, and we'll be more than happy to help.
Yes,
you know, and if someone submitted a design that's too much like some other design on the register, they'll say, well, go away and rework it, you know, and come back to us, and hopefully it will work this time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I know Donna and I could speak to this. Like we submitted our design, and it did end up being very similar to another design, and you guys were fabulous. You carried us through, because the first thing you feel is a little bit disappointed, right? Like, oh darn.
Understandably, yes.
But I have to say, like, when I look at the whole registration experience, the support and encouragement that you offered us made a world of difference. It helped us get over that like lower vibration of disappointment, and fired us up to keep going, to get to the finish line successfully. So thank you for that. And we'll always remember that too. We'll always remember that.
Well, that's what we're here to do, is to help people. We're more than happy to help. Again, keeping us on our toes is answering people's inquiries, which could be, you know, what tartan should I wear? Where can I buy? Who is my clan chief? Can you help me identify this tartan? Now, that can be quite tricky when we're sent a black and white image, I have to say. But yes, we get lots of inquiries, and we're happy. We will always help as best as we can.
Yes, yes. And if being on the receiving end, the help that you provide is not just like a black and white answer to a question, like a clinical response. We could feel the warmth and we could feel the encouragement. So thank you for that. And I'm sure that we're echoing what many people would say who've had an opportunity to interact with the Scottish Register of Tartan. So that's a wonderful thing.
You're very welcome, and that's what we're here for. And I think that, you know, the tartan's popularity is not going to go away anytime soon, and I think we'll be registering new tartans for a long time to come.
A long time. So before we tie up here, any thoughts, any other little thoughts that you wanted to share, or maybe Donna has a thought also, or any last words?
Oh my goodness, I'm not very good at this.
I think you're doing great. I'll tell you, I'll start off.
You start off, yes.
Okay, so when we were so happy we were going to meet with you, I thought, gosh, you know, there must be a good tartan quote out there. There's got to be several good quotes about tartan. There's no good quotes about tartan, Pat, Donna. Nothing, absolutely nothing. So I think
no.
I think we have an opportunity to come up with a beautiful quote about tartans. And that's my last thought. But I have to say, it's almost as if the last thing that was said about tartans was in the 1800s, and nobody has really said anything interesting since then from a Asian perspective.
Good point. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yes. Well, as I say, it's not going away.
No.
There, people are always going to want to register new tartans. I mean, many people register different, they have maybe 3 or 4 or 5 tartans, and they're happy to do it. And we do like to receive woman samples. That's,
okay. You like to see,
we love to have a
them?
woman
Like
sample. Yes, and because we have a conservation department that puts them into special acid-free boxes and sleeves, so that they're going to be preserved forever. And if people come into the historical search room, which is we're based in the National Records of Scotland. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Sorry. Right. Okay. So we have a search room, and if people want, they can come and they can ask to see the tartans, as well as the many old documents that we have. So we're based in the National Records of Scotland in Edinburgh on Princess Street.
All right. So when we come over for our visit, when we take our 8 members of our Judique Spirit Tartan Society, big pilgrimage across the pond, we'll be visiting that spot too. Maybe
you will, and it's very accessible. Sorry, I beg your pardon?
Maybe we'll walk in our Judique tartan. Like
you have to be wearing. I mean, I was going to ask you, I can see you've got lovely scarves there. Are you planning to do anything else?
I think the ones over here, the tartans?
No, it's the ones that you're wearing.
Oh, Pat, you asked the right question. So right now what we're doing is having 100% lambswool tartan scarves created and blankets. And they, of course, will be woven in Scotland. Once we do that successfully, then we're going to go for the bolted fabric, the 10-ounce fabric, and maybe the ladies and gentlemen maybe in the community can make ties or vests or little dresses for children. So, or tea cozies or pot holders or whatever. So the idea is to build upon the Judique tartan, create beautiful items that can be shared with others, and promote the themes of community spirit, vitality, connection, and all of that sort of good stuff.
That sounds great. Do you have tourists visiting your area a lot, or would you consider, little brooches, little tartan brooches or something like that? Just a thought. You might want to sell some of the stuff in your shops.
Yes, and Donna can speak to the tourism part. I haven't experienced tourism in Judique because of COVID. Donna, what was tourism like before?
Well, especially in the summer months, from say June to the end of which is, we have a Celtic Colours Festival in October, the middle of October. So that brought a lot of tourists in, and it was busy like a whole week long. And every day it's amazing the people that arrive at our little interpretive center for lunch. We have lunchtime Kayleys every day, and the little gift shop. And it is amazing the people that go through here.
Yeah, that's good to know. I've never been I've never been across the pond, and that would be something I'd love to do. I'd love to come and visit you.
Yes, come and visit us. Oh, we love that. You'll have tea.
When we're able.
Yeah, I'll tell you what we'll do for you. You'll come here, you'll love it because it's very beautiful. It's a seaside village. But on the menu will be numerous cups of tea. There's going to be cakes, tea, biscuits, ginger sparkle cookies, and homemade bread. And everyone in the community here, as I have discovered, they're excellent cooks and excellent bakers. The recipes have been passed on through the years and perfected. Pat, you'll feel right at home. You'd love it.
And I think Sarah would like that too, because we're always drinking cups of tea and eating biscuits, and because at the moment we're only communicating with each other by we have Teams is what we have in our computers. It's not the same. I mean, I miss my colleagues terribly.
Yeah.
Just it's been over a year.
Yes,
You know,
it's too
so
long.
we're all in the same boat. You know,
All in the same
and
boat.
we have to stay safe.
Yes, and it will
Yes.
pass. It will pass. It will pass. Just
It
before
will pass.
it will pass. So the other characteristic of this community that you will love when you come to visit is the music and dance culture.
Yes.
The music is unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. And it's a dancing culture. So people come in, the fiddles are playing, they find their partners, they start their set dancing, and anybody that had an ache or a pain or a worry, it's gone.
It's gone. Yes.
And then
yes.
there's step dancing, and Donna actually is able to step dance. She can do a good step. And it's a great lesson in life, and it's a great tonic during these times to think about the music and the dancing and something to look forward to. So
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. I mean, the music has the power to uplift. And dancing, I've seen step dancing. I've seen it here, and it's fabulous.
Yeah.
It's just it's incredible. Yes.
I always say with Judique is small in the physical world. It's only 700 people. It's small in the physical world, but spiritually, soulfully, it's humongous.
Yes, I think I can tell by listening to you talk, and yes.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So anyway, we have come to the end of our little tea break, and we loved our conversation with you, and you're so bright, and obviously you love your work and you love tartans, and so do we. So we have a genuine connect there.
We have a rapport. Yes.
We have a rapport. And
we have a rapport.
We have a rapport. Well, we have to be able to have a little laugh, right? We have to have a little laugh. And
absolutely.
Donna, is there anything before we sign off that you'd like to share with Pat, or?
Just wanted to say thank you, Pat, and I envy your job. It's really must be very rewarding, and you get a lot of satisfaction, and very exciting every day, something different coming up, and all the nice color combinations and everything that arrive. So just want to thank you for our little talk today. It's very interesting.
As we had shared earlier, our video together, our time together, is part of Judique's contribution to Gaelic Month, which is in May in Nova Scotia. So thank you very much. Bye for now.
Well, you're very, very welcome, and nice to talk to you both.
Okay.
You too. Bye now.
Bye.